Hello, I'm sorry for not being, doing my usual vlogs. There's been a lot going on and finally I have some good news. I started the channel a year ago with my first, it was at a really low point whether I was going to give up or walk away from what I was doing here with my stable block conversion. And I've really enjoyed doing the vlogs and getting to know people from their comments and everything, and it's been amazing. But as you know, the last few weeks it's been very hit and miss, and I have literally vanished for a little while. So I am sorry, and it's not like me, because I'm one of those people that when they commit to doing something, I do always do it. But best will in the world, sometimes even the world gets in my way as well. And as you know, from if you've watched any of the vlogs about the actual building and what I was planning to do, I've had a long 4-year battle with planning. When funds, and I did explain it in the previous vlogs, it got to the stage where I couldn't complete my home to be, and then was living in a static, and then the static went because it was so cold, and I moved into my utility room, which is part of my garage, which is my lovely little space here, which again I've done a vlog about living in a small space, and I've really grown to love it. But the bureaucracy and the well, I suppose hate from some people has been really difficult to deal with. Trying to evict me from actually living here, I've had that twice by a local councillor. He's tried to block everything I've done, and he's no longer a local councillor due to the elections a week last Friday. So I have to say, I don't gloat normally about things like that, and I don't wish harm to anybody else, because I'm just really interested in being the best I can be and just getting on with my own life. But just sometimes you have to think, things come around, don't they? So on that actual date, after I have gone through the process of putting in planning on my land, I did a vlog about the plots that I have for sale, because eventually after 2 attempts I got planning, but only for holiday cottages. It's mad. I couldn't have 2 bungalows for people to live in, but I could have 3 quite big properties, but for holiday purposes. Anyway, they've been on the market for 2 years, not attracted the right type of people, and that's the best way I can put that. And yes, they've sold, not sold. It's been tough, really tough, and cost me a lot of money in time wasters that have got me down the road 4 or 5 months down the road thinking there was a sale, and then they've pulled out. And you just think, what's the universe got there for me? What is it holding? What's the plan? Why are all these hold-ups? So what have I learned while I've been here? Well, I've learned I don't need a lot of stuff to live with. I've learned, to be safe, to have a base, to just be grateful for what I've got, and I really and truly am. And I've learned a lot about myself. So yes, that process from the universe, by making me wait, teaching me the art of patience, has been a big thing. It's also interesting that my son at the same time has got a promotion at work, is moving away to live in Sheffield, near Sheffield. He's got a job there. His girlfriend's moving in with him. So suddenly they've grown up and are getting their first house together, and that is amazing. So I'm helping him with that at the moment. I'll be helping him move next weekend. Very exciting times. So that's really good, but interesting that things start to click together when other things move for other people too. So I often think about timelines and how things all work when it's the right time, basically. So going back to the planning, yeah, the first time was a no. The second time I got for the holiday. And then I've been and applied last year for a Section 73, which is the change of permission, which is just, if you can have these brick buildings built and people can live in them all the year round, but it's just holiday permission and not for dwellings, and yet we need housing, this is what we need. And from people in the village, the support I've had, They were always wanting it to be for families to live in, not for more holiday. We got so much holiday accommodation around here, we just didn't need any more. So the first time I did the Section 73 got thrown out, and it's not cheap. You pay for an agent, you pay for plans. Every time you put something in, it's a few £1,000s. So it's all starting to mount up. Anyway, trusting, because I kept being told, you know, when I say told, intuition kept saying, do it again, do it again. So I did it again. And finally, on that last Friday, I was told that it was going to come through. So literally, we were having the elections, councillor got moved out. I was told that they were putting it forward for recommendation this time. But because of a bank holiday and all that, they decided to drag it out another 10 days. So I really didn't start, you know, I started to let it get to me. I've been very much a allow, trust and allow it will happen, and it did start to get me down. I wasn't sleeping, didn't feel like eating the right things either, and that's a dangerous spiral once you're on that one. So that was good, because then I got it, and my agent rang me, over the moon, so excited for me, and then we read it, and they put the wrong date on it. They'd actually chopped a year off the planning, so effectively I'd only got 18 days to make a start or lose my planning. You can't make this up, can you? I had to really sit and think, you know, is this, do I walk away? Have I had enough to just stick it all on the market and get gone? And talking to my agent, and we rang and they said yes, but we couldn't even get hold of anybody for 5 days planning. Nobody answers the phones, they weren't answering emails. It was so frustrating. And I woke up one of the days, it was last week, and I just thought, you know, I've had enough of this. I've had enough of people hiding behind not answering phones, you know, just not. Yes, they might be understaffed, and yes, they might be overworked, and mistakes happen, but do something about it and don't hide. So I got hold of my MP. We got a new MP, got a new councillor. I went to my district councillor, and then I went to the portfolio holder, and basically everybody. I rang them all, I emailed them all. And I have to say, every single one of them, including my MP, and obviously it was somebody that worked for him, but was on it and talking to them and getting things moving. And I probably rattled some cages, but I don't care. And I got a snotty one back from the head of planning. And yes, so, well, it's a legal document, and they can't just change, you know, the one number from 2025 to 2026. They aren't legally allowed to change that. It has to go through a whole process again. And I was like, well, have I got to pay the fees for this again? Is it going to take? And what scared me was this process would have gone over the date they'd given for the planning running out. And neither me or my agent or anybody else I spoke to, even people high up in the department, said, I wouldn't trust them. I wouldn't trust them. I could see it getting to that stage and going, oh, well, you're planning to run out now, it's too late, even though they'd made the mistake. So we looked at making a start, which, yes, we could have got the entranceway put in or a foundation. Well, a foundation was 8,000, and then the people, knowing that it was a job that needed doing quickly, they wanted £11,000 to put the entranceway in. Don't just have that sort of spare change in my pocket at the moment. So, you know, that was oh my God. So more sleepless nights, more chocolate. Wondering if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And I really did get to that stage then. And then suddenly all the people that I'd rung, messaged, emails, it all got into, you know, the cogs all started whirring, if you like, and it was agreed very quickly that they could make a material amendment and would waiver the fee. Obviously, I have still got to pay my agent, because he has spent hours on the phone like I did. He has fought so hard for me. He's been utterly amazing. And I'm so pleased, because it would have been easy to feel very alone in this process. And often you're dealing with men in office. There are very few women. There was only one lady, and she was the one that actually written the report and had made the typing error. And obviously they were all on her, and she rang me to apologise, and it was absolutely lovely. And like I said to her, you're a human, you know, we make mistakes, it's not a problem. All I want to know is how we can put it better. But I really felt for her, because it was from the top down, let's kick the person at the bottom. But they were the ones that checked it and signed it off as well. But then they said, oh, well, actually, they're allowed to do that. They can change the date on a Section 73 planning if they want to. But they wouldn't have done that without consultation. There would have had to have been a reason for it. And it all goes back to just somebody not checking, because a planning permission normally lasts 3 years, but because mine was granted in COVID, I had 4 years. So bless her, she just thought 3 years, done the maths, but hadn't thought, why on earth would this person put in for planning that was only going to last 18 days? Anyway, it dragged out, and then the material amendment came online. My agent had filled the form in, literally straight away sent it, and he said, and he knows from experience they can deal with that within an hour. We then went online and looked, and they'd put down the date to deal with it in 4 weeks' time. Again, after my planning could have run out. So the phone call started again, and within an hour I got a very snotty email, but it got done. So yes, I now have plots for sale that are a lot more saleable, because they are for dwellings for people, and it sits right with me that this was my grandparents' land, my dad's land, and then mine, that I am doing something with it that actually does benefit the community. Yes, it benefits me, it's going to enable me to finish my house if I sell them, but equally it will be a building that looks like my barn. They're specifically made to fit in with the landscape and to look like part of the countryside, like they've always been there, and not another static caravan site, which is nothing wrong with them in the right place, but not in our little village. They don't work. So that's why I haven't been here. I have been stressed beyond stressed. And it was such a sad thing, because to wait 4 years for something, and then for it not to, you know, yeah, you've got it, but we've got to sort this out, it really took the shine off it. I mean, the very first time when I actually got the planning permission, I had to go to appeal. It was called in. I had to stand there in front of a room of men again and give my 1-minute speech on why I felt they should give me my planning. And just as I was doing that, just as I stood up, that lovely councillor I told you about, he actually called into the Secretary of State, which is beyond a joke, because that's for things like wind farms and massive housing estates and developments, not 3 little plots in Orby. So, hey, there you go. Life has a way, whatever it is, it's enabled me in all that time to learn so much about myself, so much about who I am, what I need, and what kind of quality of life I want. So I don't regret any of it. But it did take the shine off it. I didn't feel I could really celebrate. So the last 2 days, I've just been exhausted, if I'm honest. Found out at, 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon. That's when I found out it was all okay. And then the irony of it was, on the Saturday, because my agent literally had it on the market straight away like that, one of the people that actually dragged me through a 5-year process last time, pretending he was having it and then pulled out the last minute and cost me a fortune, actually rang up and said he was going to buy it again. That number's blocked now. No, he's not. I'm just really upset that I didn't think I should be grateful. So you have to laugh and you have to smile. And I am back, and I am going to carry on. I'm not going to say I'm going to do every Wednesday and every Sunday, because rather than let people down, and none of that, if I'm going to come on, I want to bring something of value and something of content. Wednesdays are easy because we can, a quick chat. But I'm sorry, the last few Wednesdays I didn't want to speak to anybody. I was utterly exhausted from phone calls and emails and fighting the system, if you like. But what I can say from this is never give up, because if it's meant to be, it will work. And I think that was one of the things that I kept saying to myself was, if it's meant for you, it will never pass you by. I was told that at quite a young age, and it's kind of allows you to let go and to trust in the universe, if you like. Trust and allow. If it's meant for me, it won't pass me by. So there I am. This is where we are. I'm really hoping the universe now, after all my trials, if I've passed them, if I've learned my patience, if I've learned all the things I'm meant to learn, it's going to send me an absolutely lovely buyer who's going to put their heart and soul into it, make them beautiful properties, and then I can finish mine. And then we can get back onto vlogging about the changes and what we can do, you know, and watch it grow and evolve, as well as all the other mad things I'm up to. So I'll be back with my metal detector, and I've had some amazing finds, so that's been really exciting. And thank goodness for that, because that has allowed on the days when I couldn't cope, by doing that mindfulness of detecting, it saved me. It really did save me. And it was on those days when I was at my lowest when I had some of the most amazing finds. So next Sunday, back to metal detecting, and as soon as I've got some more good news, I'll let you know. And thank you so much for being patient with me. Bye.